What is going on YouTube? It's Repulse back in another video. In today's video, we are actually doing a tier list of Chelsea players, how they did this season. And this is my personal opinion. I'm not going off any statistics or anything, just watching the games, how I felt these players perform this season. Starting off with Mark Bettinelli, who just didn't play. Um, Pretty much just a quota guy for European competitions, trained at the club, just an old keeper that we have sitting on the bench, just getting money. Um, Benoit Badiashile, I'll put in May, had good performances in the Conference League, but I think someone that we should be looking to sell this summer. Did look bright in the final, string together a few good passes, but other than that, didn't really do much throughout the season. Didn't really play in the Prem. I don't know if he did at all, but didn't really contribute much. But he was good when he played, so I just put him in the May category due to his lack of significance. Caicedo, I'm gonna put player of the season. Um, yeah, just immense every single game. I think played every single league game for us. Was great. Um, yeah, really good player. I think the best defensive midfielder in the world, in my opinion. That's how highly I rate him. Um, I think we'll be able to see that on a continental level in the Champions League as well as a global level in the Club World Cup. But yeah, our player of the season easily. Fitting that he scored the last goal for us in the last game of the season against Real Betis. But yeah, great player. I think great in every single game. Had a shaky start against Wolves the first 45 minutes, but then the second half, when we scored 4 goals, he was absolutely immense. Won so many balls to create so many chances. So yeah, easily our player of the season and our most, if not second most consistent player of the season. I actually have two players going in player of the season because I was in between before recording this. So yeah, Caicedo is the first, and I'll have him at the top just because the club also voted him player of the season. Other than that, we have Cesare Casadei, who is just get out my club. Didn't really play for us much this season, and I think is officially a Torino player, so maybe I just put him DMP. Um, but yeah, didn't really do much for us this season. I thought he would have a bigger role just because Maresca played with him or utilized him when he was at Leicester. Obviously, Casadei was at loan at Leicester City last season. But yeah, I think his move to Torino is official. Um, so I'll just put him in the DMP, but not a bad player. I think has the potential to be good in the future. Carney Chukwemeka, I don't really know where. I'm gonna put him at Get Out My Club. He's on loan at Borussia Dortmund. Just didn't really play much for us this season. Um, yeah, I don't really know what to say. He was out on loan the entire season. It looks like we're going to sell him. I think could be a good player, but I don't think he's in our plans by any means. Um, and didn't really look all too great when he played in the Conference League, but then again, it was very limited appearances to judge him on. But I don't think he's in our plans, so I'll just put him at Get Out My Club. Other than that, we have Levi Colwill, who I'm in between amazing and good. I wish there was a category in between. Um, I'm gonna put him amazing, but very close to good just due to his form at the end of the season and him scoring that goal at the end of the season to send us to the Champions League. Um, yeah, really immense performances against the likes of Liverpool, good against Man United, really good against Forest, obviously. Yeah, just really held it down at the back towards the end of the season, really stepped up, and you could see the gradual progression throughout the season. I think had really good form at the beginning. When we got bad, he was a little worse, a little leaky at the back, but then again towards the end of the season, really improved, and it seemed like he grew into a leader as well. So I think that's someone that deserves to go into the amazing category because the performances and leadership both combined into one, and he excelled as a player later into the season and capped it off nicely with the goal against Nottingham Forest, again to send us to the Champions League. Um, the away scenes were immense, and I think Levi Colwill won man of the match in that game, deservedly so. Him and Tossin were great at the back that game, so yeah, I think amazing is a fitting spot for Levi Colwill. Um, Mark Cucurella, this is my other player of the season. Won us so many points. I think back to the Leicester game. Manchester United obviously scored goals in the Conference League. Um, who else did he score against? Brentford. I don't know, but he had 7 goals and 3 assists in the Prem this season. I think he was a great player for us. 10 goal contributions at that left back spot and really excelled defensively. Um, I mean, as John Terry said, if I could take 10 Mark Cucurellas, I would take, or 11 Mark Cucurellas, I'd take 11 Mark Cucurellas every single game week. Yeah, I think should have been up there for player of the season running. I think he was um, deserved second, but I think even if he came first, I wouldn't have argued against it. I think he had that great of a season. Definitely a starter every single chance he has the opportunity to be. And one of my favorite personalities on the squad as well. I think just such a great season from Mark Cucurella that he deserves to be up there alongside Caicedo because I think this was a 1A 1B player of the season scenario, with Caicedo slightly edging it over Cucurella, but Cucurella was, I mean, world class this season. I think one of the best left backs in the world as well. Kieran Dewsbury Hall, I'm gonna give him meh as well. Really good in the Conference League, but that was the only competition he really played in. But when he did sub on in the Premier League, he did give his all, so can't really fault him for that. Um, Made a really important challenge in the 97th minute against Forest. Ran like crazy against United. Really secured some results with just how wild he was running in the games and how much effort he was putting in. So, due to that Conference League run, I think we can give him meh. Definitely should have gotten into the Conference League team of the season. I can't remember if he did or not. I remember seeing Towson and Palmer. Sorry, not Pawson. That was what I was about to say. Um, I don't recall if he got in there or not. But again, good when he played in the Conference League. I think just doesn't have enough quality for the Chelsea squad. But then again, wasn't awful this season. I mean, was good when he played. It was just against easier opposition, so harder to judge. But yeah, I think just meh because decent in the Conference League, serviceable in the Prem, but I don't think a player uh, at Chelsea level. Disassi, just get out my club. I know he was really decent at Villa, but in terms of Chelsea, doesn't really fit at the club. Um, I think he will go permanently to Villa as well, so I don't think there's any concerns there on the Disassi front. I don't really want to see him play in a Chelsea shirt ever again. Did score a goal against Southampton early on in the season, but other than that, wasn't really all too great. Joao Felix just not in the plans either. You can be at the top and get out my club actually. I think is a really talented player, but I just don't think he fits the Maresca scheme. Obviously went out on loan after we signed him for like 6 months in the January transfer window. But yeah, I don't think someone that's in our plans, and I think we will sell him in the summer. Enzo Fernandez, amazing. Um, I think pretty self-explanatory. Over 20 goal contributions or goal assist contributions as a midfielder this season. Scored in the final, but also scored very important goals like the ones against Liverpool. Scored against Leicester City. Scored against Aston Villa, Tottenham to take the lead there in that wild 4-3 game that Cucurella just didn't have boots for. But yeah, really good player this season. I think crashed the box very well. Um, so yeah, I think a guy that's always going to be on the team sheet alongside these four guys are definitely going to be on the team sheet every single time they are fit and available. I just think really, really good talents. Enzo Fernandez, I, I know he's linked to Madrid. I don't see him going there. I think they've died down as of recent. Um, but yeah, I think a very good midfielder. I wouldn't call him world class yet, but I would call him a star midfielder. Really good passing range, really good at crashing the box, playing that box to box role that Enzo Maresca had him playing this season. Wesley Fofana, I'm gonna put at unhappy. This is just personal opinion. I know he was good when he played, but the injury concerns make me unhappy with him because I mean we saw how Maresca was able to manage Reece James. You know, really take care of his minutes, not rush him back, but it seemed Fofana wanted to be rushed back into the team, which got him hurt again and brought a lot of criticism to the way that the club handled the situation. But I think that was what Fofana wanted. So yeah, that makes me a little unhappy for him because good player without the injuries, but really rushed himself back. It seemed like I don't think he was fit by any means, and I think Maresca wanted to protect him, but he overruled that and played. And he was decent when he played, but again, the injury concerns just make me unhappy with him as a player. Um, but yeah, a good talent when he is on the pitch. Obviously, with the fee we paid for him from Leicester City, and I think someone that could be a starting right back. But obviously, we are looking at the right center back position, which shows that we are also concerned with his injuries and don't know how much further he could go. Um, Moving on to Mark Guiu, I'm gonna put him in good. Um, really, really showed glimpses of being a good player for us this season. I think if he didn't get hurt for that 3 month span, he could have took Nico Jackson's number one spot towards the end of the season. At that run in, I think was a good player in the Conference League for us. Obviously, scored a hat trick against Shamrock Rovers, I believe. Um, Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe that's who that was against. but ran his tail off every single game. I wanted to see him score in the Prem. I don't think he did. But yeah, a really good talent, only 18 years old. I think it's only up from here. I don't know if he'll be in the Chelsea plans in the future. I do hope he is, though. He's a very aerially dominant, physical nine that I think if he develops into a more polished striker will be very good for us in the future. So I'm gonna just put him in the good category because I do think that he does have a future at Chelsea, and he looked like a very good talent when he came on. Um, then Malagusto joining his Frenchman at the Batter Unhappy. I just don't think he really fits what the club wants. Um, I mean, you can see on my Twitter, I'm not really the biggest fan of Gusto in terms of this season. I mean, he was absolutely awful in that Conference League final, in my opinion. Just doesn't really fit that inverted right back role. We saw how good he was under Posh, just bombing down, up and down the wings. And I think this is going to be a rogue shout, but I think he could be a touchline winger for us with how much the wingers defend for us on that right hand side. Every time he came on and did that for um, late in games, like the Manchester United game, or was it the I can't remember if it was the Forest or Manchester United game. Looked decent. Yeah, I think he could do a role there. Definitely with how much he crosses the ball if we get an early dominant nine. Um, but yeah, just didn't really play all too well this season. There's no memorable performance. As I'm sorry if you hear that train. No memorable performance. I don't think a single good performance this season. So yeah, I just think it was a bad season overall for Malagusto, and that's why I put him in this category. Um, I could even drop him down to here, but I think uh, he's talented enough to stay in the squad, and I think Maresca may figure out a way to utilize him because he did look great in the season prior to this one, but this one it was just a really bad season for him. Second season syndrome, you could say. Nicholas Jackson joining them in the batter unhappy. I know scored 10 goals in the Prem, but I mean, just yeah, got to be more clinical, especially as a striker, and doesn't strike the ball all too well. Um, Yeah, I mean, really soft strike of the ball. Looked like he fixed it a little bit in the game against Everton, but then sent himself off right away against Newcastle. Um, I can praise him for scoring against Real Betis in the Conference League final. Shortly after he got a red card against Newcastle, kind of as an apology, and he apologized to his teammates, which I liked. I didn't need a public apology for him. I'd rather just see him score goals, and he did. But again, wasn't even a clinical goal at all. He literally hit it in with his chest, tried to flick it with his head, and just completely missed it. It bounced off his chest in the goal, and had more big chances missed than goals scored. So yeah, I think we just need a more clinical nine, and I hope Liam Delap uh, can contribute to that a little bit. And if we get Ekitike or Gyökeres, that they can um, take that shirt from him as well. I know we're listening to offers, and I know he has loads of potential, but to be honest, I would sell him if given the opportunity. Reece James, amazing. No ifs, ands, buts, or about it. If, ands, or buts about it, sorry. That was messed up wording. Yeah, really excelled in that late run. Um, Such a world class player when healthy, and I think Maresca did a great job managing him this season. Was fit for most of the games and played important roles against Manchester United, against Nottingham Forest, against Liverpool. That run and he was immense, and I think that's because Maresca protected him to use him when he needed to use him. And I think Reece James, when called upon, was great this season. I mean, again, world class talent. He's always going to be amazing in every game he plays. Um, that sounded like complete glaze, but just disregard that. He's going to be a great player every time he gets the opportunity to showcase that when he's fit. Just a world class talent overall, and showed that in the games he was able to play this season, which was a lot in comparison to last season. And Mariska stated publicly that he is kind of like a Cole Palmer for us. It's just that we need to protect his health, and I think that's the right way to approach it. And Reece James was willing to do that, unlike a Wesley Fofana, and it shows that when you're willing to do that and you're a great player with all that talent, um, you can showcase your skills off even more. And for that, Reece James goes into the amazing category, and it shows what happens when you go against what the manager wants for you. And Wesley Fofana, who has similar talent to a Levi Colwill, but is had a bad or unhappy season. But I'm just unhappy with the way he handled the injury. Philip Jorgensen, just meh. Um, wasn't really great when he came in for Sanchez in the Prem. Um, in the Conference League, he was all right. Made an important save in the final from I can't remember his name. It was number 5 from Real Betis, shot outside the box. It's an American dude. I just can't remember the name, but yeah, had some decent games in there, had some bad games, had some good games. Definitely had some good games in the Conference League, which is why we advocated for him to start in the Prem. But when he played against Villa in the Prem, we all know what happened. So yeah, I think won a trophy, had a good save in the final. So I think that at least deserves a meh from me. But I don't think he's a keeper with a long term plan at this club, and I can see us move on from him shortly in the future. Amari Kellyman didn't play, but an exciting talent who we brought in for 19 million from Villa, but it was one of those PSR deals. Romeo Lavia, I want to put in amazing because every game he played in, he was amazing. It's just the injury concerns, so I'm gonna put him in good. I'm gonna put him a tier below, but I do think he should be a player for us when he is fit. And a very good one at that. You see him in the likes of the Liverpool game. He was just absolutely immense. Um, Other games that I'm trying to think of, ran the game against City in match week 1. Um, just had really, really good performances sprinkled throughout the season. And I think an excellent talent who is one of the best midfielders at this club when healthy. I think can compete in the team sheet with Enzo or Caicedo. Um, yeah, really, really, really good talent. Really good against the press. One of the best press-resistant midfielders I've seen in a while. And I want to put him in amazing because every time he played, he had really, really good performances. But the injury concerns just bring him down a slight bit into good. But I do think he's a great talent, and I think he's someone that absolutely has a future here at Chelsea. Um, and I don't think injury concerns should make us move on from him. Nani Madueke, I'm also gonna put in good, but I'm gonna put him at the or in between Marguillo, but way far behind Romeo Lavia. I think he was good in bits this season. Obviously, scored most of his goals before December, but showed his talent in a couple of games. I think decent winger had 10 overall goal contributions. Yeah, showed his potential in some games, showed flashes in the likes of the Liverpool game where he looked decent from the left wing. But I don't know how much he'll play next season because obviously we have Esteval Willian coming in, we have Pedro Neto to play on the right, we have him on the right, um, and we're also bringing in a left winger. So that means we have at least Sancho, Neto, Madueke. Wait, Sancho, Neto, Madueke. Um, New signing Esteval, and then maybe Modric if he's back. So that's 6 wingers. That's 3 at each position. So a lot of competition to be there next season. Obviously, we have a lot of competition. So I assume players will get a decent amount of game time. But at the end of the day, Madueke is kind of battling with Pedro Neto right now to see who gets that number 2 winger spot or number 1 winger spot if Esteval Willian doesn't really show his potential in the first season at the club. But yeah, I think had a good season overall. 10 goal contributions. I don't think you can really fault him for that. Um, but I would like to see more from him next season. I want to see him at this amazing category, and I think after thinking about it, I am going to move Romeo Lavia at the back of amazing, um, just because I don't think he should be on the same tier as Madueke. Modric, I'm just going to put at better unhappy, just because of the whole situation. We haven't really heard, or he hasn't really made a statement or anything like that since the substances were found in his testing. But yeah, that's the only reason I'm unhappy is just because I don't even know if he's gonna play with us. No one knows the situation, so I don't think it's fair for him to be placing anything above other than unhappy. Because if he was doping, then I mean shows that the talent that he did show this season was illegitimate and shouldn't be judged upon. Pedro Neto, I'm gonna put in good. I'm gonna put above Nani Madueke if it lets me. Um, just because he had the same amount of goal contributions as Nani Madueke, but I think worked his tail off the entire last stretch of the season. Had key assists in there. Had key goals against the likes of Fulham. Um, Assists in the game against Liverpool. Yeah, just I would say my favorite winger at the club right now, just because of how much he works and runs. He's like a Mark Gio, but as a winger. Always gonna press for us. Always gonna work his hardest to press from the front and get everyone else involved. So yeah, I would say that due to him having the same amount of goal contributions as Madueke, but being a better um, better defender, I guess, or better presser than Madueke in providing more work rate. I would put him above him, and I think he had a better season than him overall. I think he had better performances even when he didn't get the goals and assists there, and did play out of position for a little bit at that false nine striker position. Christopher Nkunku, um, I'm gonna put at get out my club. Just didn't really press for us. Didn't really try this season. Um, hasn't really played since it became public that he wanted to leave. So yeah, I expect him to go this season. Um, had 12 goals, so you know, wasn't really bad in the Conference League, but I don't think really fit Maresca's plan at all, or Maresca's tactics at all. So I expect him to leave, and I just wasn't really happy with how he pressed or anything this season. Just very minimal effort. Um, so yeah, I'll put him at get out my club. Actually, no, I'll put him at unhappy just because scored the goal against Bournemouth that got us the 3 points. Cole Palmer, amazing. I'm gonna put him, or I'm gonna order this the way I want it. I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna put Cole Palmer uh below Enzo in amazing because I think Enzo had more consistent performances throughout the season. Obviously, Cole Palmer ghosted for a little bit, but I do think was immense at the start of the season and one of our key players throughout the entire season that everyone game planned against to pretty much take him out the game, which allowed these three guys to excel as well as Reece James. Um, so yeah, I think had an amazing season overall. I mean, over 20 goal contributions as a midfielder is always an amazing season, especially with the way he was scoring goals and the way he ended it out with the Conference League. Not much to really say about Cole Palmer other than he's a world class talent, but I don't think really showcased it to the extent this season that he did the season before. But obviously, that could just be the system being more settled, less attacking. Because I think Maresco is trying to figure it out through that slow slump of the season. But I do think he had an amazing season, all things considered, and it's Cole Palmer. He's a world class talent. He's always going to showcase that, and that was showcased in the final against Real Betis. Moving on to Robert Sanchez, who I'm actually going to put at good, just because of his ending to the season. I think he was really good at the run-in, and I don't like admitting my faults sometimes, but I'm going to admit my fault here. I think he was really good at the end of the season. Kind of turned my head a little bit because I was fully ready to, if I was ever to make this video, to put him at get out my club. It just seemed like constantly making mistakes, constantly watching the game. I was at unease watching him on the ball, but it did turn to a really good keeper towards the end of the season and really helped us win some points towards the running. So I'll admit my fault there. I kind of completely wrote off Robert Sanchez, but as Geno Smith said, you can write me off. I ain't right back though. Um, so yeah, I think good season overall just because of how much he helped us towards the end of the season and a really good shot stopper. It's just a little bit of unease when he has the ball at his feet, but I think he did figure that out a little bit towards the end of the season as well. So I think a good thing or good season, all things considered. And then Tossin, I'm putting it good right below Robert Sanchez. I think for free showed leadership, showed poise, showed the ability to progress the ball in that central center back position. Um, and I think really showed out against Forest and really grew towards the end of the season on me. I think I was kind of wondering how much is he really going to play this season? Is he going to contribute? Obviously, Wesley Fofana is immense when he's on the pitch. So is he going to take his spot on the team sheet? But it turned out to be Tossin and Trevor Chalaba, who is not here for some reason. I must have forgot him um, on the team sheet. But yeah. Uh, yeah, I forgot Trevor Chalaba completely, but I was also going to put him at good. Trevor Chalaba would go right here, so just act like there's Mark Gio's right here and Trevor Chalaba's right there, actually in front of Tossin. But yeah, Trevor Chalaba would go in good because I think he was just a solid defender. Has always been a solid defender for us when he plays. Renato Vega just lost all ties here. I really liked him when he played for us. To be honest, I thought someone that could play center back for us potentially um, alongside Levi Colwill. Obviously, Colwill would go to the central center back position, and then Reece James at the right center back with Cucurella inverting. If Vega was to play that left center back position for us, but I thought he was really good when he played, to be honest. Showed flashes, but obviously burned the bridge at the club by going to Juve, and I think becomes a permanent player for them if they're able to generate the funds to buy him. Um, so not much else to say. I really liked him when he played, to be honest. I thought he was a good talent, but seems like he's not going to be a Chelsea player in the future. Um, Jadon Sancho, uh, I mean, the other wingers are here too. I'm gonna put him at good as well. I'll put him under Tossin. Um, 10 goal contributions as the same as the other ones. Pressed a little bit, showed out in a couple games, and saved us some points against the likes of Ipswich. That game against Bournemouth as well. And I think it's someone that we should make permanent this season. Obviously, if we're able to find a deal on the wages. Um, so yeah, good season, all things considered. I think contributed well, especially for a 25 million pound fee if we are to get him. A lot cheaper than Pedro Neto, but I think has the most quality of any winger at the club currently in terms of technical ability. And I think he needs to showcase that a little bit more next season. I think he will be able to as he excels more in the Champions League than he does in the Prem. But again, I think had a decent season, all things considered. So I'll put him at the back of good alongside Mark Guiu. And then lastly, Ben Chilwell. I'm sorry, Ben, you didn't play, but also just get out of my club, buddy. Don't really fit, and Mark Cucurella completely took your shirt. But yeah, this is the entire tier list. We have Caicedo and Cucurella, easily our player of the seasons. I don't think there's any controversy on that. I think it's easily these two, with Enzo being that third that would join up on this tier. Then we have Enzo, Palmer, Reece James, Levi Colo, Romeo Lavia. I think these are the seven we need to build on. And then these are players that we can improve on, but I think also can play for us, be serviceable enough guys for us, and I think Towson should start a couple games next season. Obviously, Trevor Chalobah would be like in between these two guys. Sorry that he wasn't here. I just completely forgot to add him on this tier list. But yeah, we have Neto, Madueke, Sanchez, who had a really good end to the season. So I think he rose from here to here to here to here, and can even come up to here if he finishes or if he plays the way next season that he finished this season. But obviously we're looking at a new number one, I believe, or Petrovic is coming in being that number one. Tossin, Jadon Sancho, Mark Guiu, who I think may go out to Strasbourg or something like that next season. And then may consist of Philip Jorgensen, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, Batty Chile, guys that I don't think are in our plans, but didn't play all too bad when given the opportunity and didn't really cause a fuss. Unhappy in Kunku, Mudrik, Jackson, Gusto, and Fafana. I wouldn't sell Fafana, the other guy. The other four guys I would, but I think Fafana, I just need him to understand how to handle his injuries better and work on his body a little bit more. Uh, Get Out My Club consists of Vega, Felix, Chukwemeka, and Disasi, just guys that didn't play for us this season. If they did, they didn't, or they did play for us this season. They just didn't really contribute, didn't do anything, and burn their bridges at the club. Joao Felix, I think, didn't really burn his bridges, but I just don't think fits in the Maresca system at all. And then lastly, we have Do Not Play with Bettinelli, Cassidy, Omari Kellyman, and Ben Chilwell. And I mean, I'd keep Bettinelli just for the quota, and then I'd keep Kellyman because I do think he is a good talent. I just think he needs to stay fit. But that is my tier list. If you would move any player anywhere else or have any other opinions on players, for example, if you think Jackson was good this season or mad this season, leave that in the comment section. Or if you think I'm being unfair to a Wesley Fofana, leave that in the comment section. Or guys that you'd bring down. I want to hear your thoughts, so please share them with me, and I'll respond to them. I'll tell y'all how I truthfully feel about them. Um, so, a Mark Guiu, I would say that I think he's very talented and he was good when he played. And I don't think really caused a fuss. I think would have played in the Prem if he was healthy. So that's why I haven't been good. But I could understand the argument for moving him down. But at the end of the day, this is my tier list. These are my opinions on these guys. So I do hope you enjoyed this video. And again, if you have uh, any other tier list ideas or any other keep sell loan things that you would like me to do, please leave that in the comment section. Give me ideas of what videos to make next, and I will try to make them all for y'all. But it's Repulse, and I'm out. Peace.